Gotta ask you about Berto. Obviously, you guys are deep into camp right now. That's actually the reason why I came out to see how he's looking. But he's off today.
Yeah.
But yeah, how's camp going for the Shawn Porter fight?
Camp is going very well. I mean, he understands he's in a very tough fight because a very tough, determined opponent is Shawn. You know, and we don't pretend like it's anything else but that. You know. So you don't have to motivate him to get motivated. You know, you have to hold him back so he don't overtrain. You know, I look for a good fight. I think they complement each other well, and it's a good fight to have at this stage. You know, old lion, you know, against a young lion.
That's crazy that he's an old lion.
Seem like he, you know, you just started. Way time flies. But, you know, you see what the old lion has left, and see, you know, the young lion is ready to take the pride. You know.
Is there anything about Porter that you look at and I don't want to say worry about, but I mean, obviously, a lot of times people point to his pressure. You know, he's a pressure fighter. Is that something that you guys focus on? Is dealing with that type of pressure?
Well, you better focus on it, you know, because he brings effective pressure. And one thing about Shawn, he fights to his strengths. You know, so you better be ready for that. Yeah.
How much can you take away from his performance in the Keith Thurman fight? I mean, can you even look at that and take anything away?
Well, there's some things that, well, let me put it this way. There's some, Berto does have a different type of delivery than Keith, you know. He's a little more quicker to the target, you know, when he's on. But you know, Keith is a little more rangy also. So they have a different style. But I felt that fight actually made Keith. And what I mean by that is he showed that he had his nutsack would drop if it had to. You know, I was very impressed by both men in that fight. You know, I mean, we wouldn't have saw all of this in Keith if it had been for who Shawn was, and vice versa. You know, now that rematch, you know, really should be on the board also. You know, I mean, it was just an action fight. Very, very close fight. You know, I don't think it was a loser in that fight. You know, the way they performed. I mean, they let it all hang out. You know. So, yeah, we know we're up against you know, tough, probably beyond tough individual, you know, and you know, that has skill. He has Shawn has you know, and his father, Kenny, a good coach, who knows him, knows what it takes to motivate him. He always has him prepared, and you know, he's been a winner. From the time he's been in the amateurs into the pros, he's a winner. You know, and we have to accept the fact that just because a kid might not have the belt at any given time don't mean he's not a winner. He's a winner. If you look at his boxing career, he was always in the top 1, 2, or 3. That's a winner. You know, you lose some, but basically you're a winner. You know, so you know, I think it's a fight that the old lion got to show what he got left. And the young lion is saying, look, you know, I got to come in here and get your females and They gotta have some Cubs for me.
One last question about that fight is, I mean, obviously we talked about his fight with Keith Thurman. What about his fight with Adrian Broner? I mean, I know he came down a little. I think that fight was at 145 or something like that. They fought at catchweight. But did you see? Is there anything you can take away from Adrian's performance against Shawn, or Shawn's performance against Adrian?
Now I'll be honest. I didn't see that whole fight. I saw the knockdown.
That's what I was about to say. You probably saw the knockdown.
I saw the knockdown in the 12th round. You know, because that's pretty much what they highlighted.
Yeah.
So I do know that, you know, Berto'S hook at this stage is probably harder than Twins. You know, because Berto can punch. Make no mistake about it. He can punch with either hand. And he can come out of nowhere with something.